Yo, what's up guys? We are back and we are so close to having this redstone contraption working. I mean, it is just painfully close. I'll show you guys what I mean. If you've been keeping up with this is my redstone automated chest transporting and emptying system. I'm not entirely sure how useful something like this would be, but you can see we have our chest here on our redstone flying machine, and the idea is that you would fill items in here, either from one base to another base of yours, or maybe a mob farm to your base, or whatever. The point is you have items here that you want to be over there. So the idea is that the items that you want to be over there would be put in here, and then you would press this button to send it on its way, and then once it arrives at its destination, I've actually changed a lot of this circuitry. I was able to fix most of our problems in the previous video by making this one block longer and getting rid of the rail that was in here. So I got rid of the rail and I made this one block longer, and by doing that I was able to put this dropper here. Now this dropper doesn't really do anything other than send a redstone input to this observer when it's time to send it back to its original position. And you can see here I've done a lot of things. I've figured out how I'm sending it back. I extended it and I added the dropper to have that function to send it back when it's done. And as far as the timing mechanism, you can see what I've done here is I have an observer that detects when the chest has arrived, sends a input into this dropper, which will then drop an item onto this pressure plate, which will then turn all of this off. So whenever it arrives, all of that function will be turned off, like that. So now it's all turned off. And then what ends up happening with that is that items will despawn every 5 minutes. So that is a 5-minute timer. Once those items despawn, the pressure plate goes back up, the signal goes back out, which then pushes the chest back into place, sends the signal here to say, okay, the chest is back in the place, send it back to its original destination, and then it goes back on its way. So that gives the chest a full 5 minutes on top of this hopper, which should be a decent enough amount of time to dump most, if not all of its contents into the chest down here. Now, the only problem with this entire system, I'll show you, because it's getting close. Also, all I did here, obviously if you were building this in survival, you wouldn't have bedrock. You would just put a block there that cannot be moved. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be a jukebox, it could be a dropper, just something that can't be moved. So you would just press this button, which will light up this lamp, which will give the observer an update to detect. That sends it on its way. And you will see here, once it arrives, it pushes it into place and dispenses the cobblestone down here. This hopper and chest is just, if you were doing this in survival, you would fill this thing full of cobblestone or whatever items that you know are easy to come by. So it dispenses that there. That sets off the 5-minute timer. So that gives the chest 5 minutes to empty all of its contents down into this chest. And then we'll pretend that the 5 minutes is up and these items have despawned. That is my problem. Is when it sends the signal for it to go, it just pulls in these blocks. But then, if I were to send another signal through the system, you'll see that it works properly and it actually goes. So the only thing stopping this thing from being fully functional is I need to find a way to send 2 pulses through this line whenever it's time for the system to leave. But those 2 pulses can only go through when it's time to leave. It can't do that when it is up normally. So if I can just solve that issue, this entire system will be done. So chest goes on its way. All of this, you know, does its job. You'll see the chest comes in, everything moves as it should. There we go. That gives the chest a 5-minute timer to be on that hopper, dropping all of its contents into that chest down there. And then 5 minutes is up, it pulls those in, and then I somehow need to make it spit out another one to send it on its way. And then of course it would take 5 minutes for this one to go away. But, you know, it would probably take you at least 5 minutes, if not longer, to fill the chest again, so that wouldn't be an issue. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this build. It's very close. It's insanely close to being done. I just need to fix that one problem, and we'll be good. So that's all the messing around I'm gonna do with this concept for now. I'll revisit it at another time when I feel like fucking around with it. But you can see I am almost done with it. I mean, it is just so close to being done. I've been messing around with this for maybe about 3 hours, just trying different things, until finally I found something that just almost works. Like, it's insanely close to working. That's the only thing stopping it from working, is that motion that I just did with this pressure plate. If I didn't have to do that, it would be fully autonomous, so I just need to find a way to where I don't have to do that. And the way to fix that would just somehow convert this one pulse coming out of here into 2 separate pulses. If I can do that, it'll work. So there we go. That's the concept for now. I'll revisit it at another time. And maybe we'll even build this in a survival scenario. Because the interesting thing about this entire setup is that it doesn't matter how far you were trying to transport these. You know, you can see I have them fairly close by, but I could build this entire thing 400 blocks that way, and it would still function just the same, so long as they're lined up in the same row. So if you had 2 bases that were very far away, but, you know, were at least lined up for the delivery system, this would work. It literally has an infinite amount of range in which it'll work, so long as they're perfectly lined up, it'll work. So, that being said, I think this is a pretty cool concept. I'm probably gonna start getting ready for bed now. I'll revisit it at another time whenever I feel like messing around with some more redstone. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. You know, I'm very close to making this fully functional. It's just so close. But that being said, thank all you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, guys.